Welcome into this episode of the Bass Pro Shop's Fisherman's Handbook. On today's show, we'll embark on some fishing adventures during the spring of the year. The bass are shallow, protecting fry and feeding up on bait fish. We'll be targeting those fish with a soft plastic jerkbait. Get ready to learn more about this technique and see some great fish catching action.
Oh boy, it's hard to beat a soft plastic jerkbait this time of the year, and he jumped off. That happens with these soft plastic jerkbaits, and you can see that old bait's not balled up. I didn't really pull into him hard enough because honestly, I didn't think that he had got it. I saw a little flash. I never felt anything. Sure enough, he had it the whole time. Decent little fish, 2 3/4, but he got away. You know, that magical window, that water temperature starts hitting the upper 50s into the low 70s, and you've got those full moons. Those fish like to move up and spawn everywhere, really, at the end of the day. But there's just certain coves and certain pockets at different times of the year that tend to pay off. But one thing I've noticed in fishing around the world, really, or not around the world, but across the states for bass, is that when you've got walkways, a lot of times those fish are on the corners, on the back ends of those long walkways, and some docks can be really long and some can be really short, but somewhere around there just tends to be some magic areas where there's bass, and when they're, you know, garden fry or setting up to spawn, you kind of got to find the best presentation. Sometimes it's easing in there and looking at them and sight fishing for them in between the docks or around the docks. Other times it's skipping Nico rigs up under the docks. Other times it's throwing soft plastic flukes. But when they're in that mode, you got to be ready to miss them a few times. You just, for whatever reason, they're not really in the eating mode, they're in the protecting mode and knocking things out of the way. That one I actually let fall. It's a smaller one. It bit it on the fall right off that pipe over there. And I'm sure a lot of the ones that I'm missing are, look at him, that means spawn. I'll run into these nice people's docks and so let me catch one off of it. You will go right back to that white deal, little guy. Do it again. Not much bigger than the bait. We appreciate them. Like I said, it's a learning lesson, and you never quit learning. You gotta share the good with the bad, and we're getting up close to 10 bites now, and I've only put 2 of them in the boat. I've had a lot of them all the way to the boat, and changed rods, changed, really how fast I was trying to fish it, tied on different things, and this is what they want. To get bites. I just have not been able to execute it, and really, in my opinion, I've already said it before, these fish are not eating, they're protecting, and that's why they're barely hooked or they're jumping off, and there's just not a lot I can do in that situation where they bite the back end of the bait and kind of take off with it. We will keep casting. Your presentation in those types of situations when those fish are up like that, to me, you got to be a little more patient a lot of times. I'm a impatient fisherman a lot of times when the water's in the 50s. I want to be whining, I want to be covering water, but when they get into that spawning mode, you really kind of got to start slowing down. You got to pick apart the area a little better. You got to soak your bait a lot of times. You got to throw some more pauses in there to be able to get those bites. And then when you start missing and losing fish in that type of situation, that probably means it's garden fries or it's on the bed and it's just trying to get it out of the way. And when that's going on, you as the angler got to adjust the best you can and just be prepared to miss a few. A lot of the guys that are super good with forward-facing sonar in this shallow, I still want to cast in this situation. I look at my forward-facing sonar a lot to see the water depth, see what's out there, but when they're on the bank, I like to look at them spawning, make these kind of casts to them, and the people that are real adept with this kind of fishing, they'll use the perspective and the forward and try to dial it in. Mean one here. Slowed it down. Now that one ate it. You can see the bait a little deeper down in there. He got after it. Ah, it's so fun. So fun. So fun. back up a little bit. The lesson in this, I mean, I know we're close to 10 bites, probably 10 bites right now. I have missed 7, caught 3 from a percentage standpoint. Soft plastic, jerkbait, just kind of fishing it along. There's a ton of them at Bass Pro, Cabela's, different brands. You find the one that really fits you and your style. You don't have to outsmart yourself on this type of fishing. 12, you know, some guys will go down to 10, all the way up to 17. You can put a little nail weight in there. I'm using a 4-aught Gamakatsu hook with the extra wide gap. I like that bite on this, and when they don't take the bait, you're gonna, you know, your percentages on fluke is definitely less than other baits. You know, you can take a regular jerkbait with 9 hooks. If the wind was blowing, and probably catch them in the same stuff, but there's lots of cover up here. You're probably gonna get hung. This type of technique, twitch, switch, pause, 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 twitch, let it fall, whatever it may be, it's just deadly, and it's cool to watch, and you're gonna catch some fish, but you're gonna have to be, just like me, you're gonna miss quite a few as well.
It's time now for the first break in the show. When we return, host Wade Middleton returns back to the same fishery with the same technique on a different day. Stay tuned to see how it all plays out. To see more great content and take your fishing skills to the next level, subscribe to the Fisherman's Handbook YouTube channel. Here you'll find how-to videos, product features, and in-depth breakdowns that'll help you catch more fish.
You know, it always looks a little bit like controlled chaos in a fisherman's boat, but there's usually, every angler has his own system of organization and planning. And, you know, I use some of the TH Titan aspects to hang certain baits that I think I'm gonna fish. I keep all my gear down here and my hooks in different places. And then as I'm gearing up to go on any fishing trip, I start with a preconceived notion, and then it changes, as it should, based on what you see. And you know, right now I'm getting ready to go fishing, and it's water temperature is going to be 68 to 72. There's going to be some fish on the bed. There's a lot of grass in this lake. There's some, you know, coontail. There's some eelgrass. There's some lily pads. There's boat docks. There's, you know, not a lot of standing timber, but this lake has a lot of fish. And when you get in that type of a temperature situation in the springtime, you've got fish that are in all stages of the spawn. Most of them are, you know, gonna be spawning or post-spawn. There's not as many pre-spawners this late in the year, but there's still a few, which means there's a lot of ways to catch them. But a lot of the ways to catch them are gonna be all keyed to soft plastic baits. You know, I'm putting a soft plastic jerkbait on here. I've got some Texas rigs. I've got some swim baits. I've got a lot of different soft plastics. Probably gonna throw a little drop shot out in front of some of this grass as well. I wanna be able, I mean, just looking right here, I wanna be able to fish from 0 inches out to 10 or 15 to determine what these fish are doing. I want something that I can fish over the top. I'll probably have a little soft plastic swim bait. I'll probably have a frog on. Probably have this little fluke tied on that I can twitch it around, skip it up behind some of these docks. And you know, I want to be able to cover that 0 to 15 depth right now, because I want to look to see where these fish are, where the bigger ones might be. I know there's going to be fish on the bank, and I know there's going to be fish out deep. I just got to figure out the right way to catch them. Little old male fry garter right there, come cruising out of that pad field right there, back of that dock. That's such a cool bite. I mean, it never gets old to see them come up and eat a bait like that. And when you actually can watch your bait disappear in that type of situation, it sure is a lot easier to know when to set the hook. But you know, when you're soft plastic fishing, most often it's, you know, the bait's below the surface of the water, and you're not seeing what's going on and when to drive that hook. But in that kind of situation there, you're actually, you know, the fish come up, we got to watch him eat it and set the hook on him and drive it home. But just as easy right there, it could have been a couple of inches deeper and we never would have seen it. You'd have seen a boil, or maybe the fish swam off to the side. But that one worked out good. We got to watch it come darting out of there and eat it. Pretty aggressive bite right there. You know, when there's the flukes and the stick worms, the speed worms, and all the different little soft plastics that people fish, you can fish them a lot of different ways. You know, one of the biggest things people will tell you, try to keep it straight. That keeps the line twist out, keeps the bait moving in the right direction. But I mean, I've caught them with it bent, caught them with it crooked as well at different times. But for me, a lot of it boils down to being able to maintain some kind of contact, some kind of feel, so that I know that, hey, that fish has got it or he's there, and get ready to set the hook. When it comes to soft plastic baits, there's a lot of different styles. You got your creature baits, for flipping and dragging. You got stick worms, you got flukes for, jerking them around. You got ringworms, you got all kinds of different baits. And they've got a lot of different names, and there's a lot of different ways you can rig them, and obviously a lot of ways that you can fish them. But, one of the main things is you're gonna have to have a hook when you're using soft plastic baits, obviously. The biggest thing I like to look at there is I don't like my hooks to be so big that they overpower the action of the bait. If you're throwing a 3-inch bait, you don't need a 5/0 hook necessarily in it in most cases. And in fact, in my opinion, probably all of them, because that hook's gonna be so big, it's gonna impede the action a lot of times. Conversely, if you use too small of a hook, you're gonna have a hard time, driving that hook in, having a lot of bite to be able to get that fish hooked up. But you've got to find the right one. Is it a straight J hook? Is it an EWG like this Gamakatsu here? I mean, there's just so many choices when it comes to hooks, but you've got to find the right one for the application. And you can tell when you've dialed it in because you're gonna land a lot of fish. God, that's cool. You just see that fish come up behind it. So cool. That's so cool. That twitch, 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 twitch. There's no pausing right now really going on. I'm fishing that thing about as fast as you can fish a soft plastic jerkbait through here to get a reaction bite. And I mean, both of those so far have just crushed it, And a lot of people associate fishing soft plastics with slowing down and barely moving and not, and you're barely crawling them. And there's times where it's, in this case here, it's as fast as you can fish it. The next time you come down this bank, it may be drowning a soft plastic stick bait and it's not even moving. You let them tell you what they want. If I fish down through here 4 or 5 docks and spots and I ain't got a bite, I'm gonna start fishing something different and fishing it slower. For me, soft plastic fishing, a fluke, I like to use a rod that's got a little bit of tip to it. It's not so heavy or so long I'm gonna get tired because I'm trying to walk that bait. When I'm throwing a swim bait out, I like something that's got a little bit more of a load to it so I can load it up and make long casts, but also has a lot of strength to be able to drive that hook home when I'm fishing. And it could be a swim bait that's this big all the way to, 4 or 5 inches. When I'm throwing a frog around and this type of stuff, I want something with some backbone, but not so long I can't work the bait. There's just a million different applications, and that's why, if you walk into a Bass Pro or a Cabela's, or you get online and you start looking at all the rod lengths, the rod applications and different sizes, and you've just got to find that one that fits for the time that you're using it. Sometimes it's trial and error. You'll go out and fish a rod and you're getting a lot of bites and they're getting off and they're jumping off, and there could be something technically that you're using, your hook could be bad, but sometimes it can be the rod that's just not performing in the right, time when it comes time for you to set that hook. Golly, that fish didn't hit me much line out. Oh, so cool. I mean, when you're fishing this style, I love fluorocarbon. I mean, there's just very little stretch in it. A lot of guys will throw an FC crank that Sunline has, but I like to throw the Sniper 17-pound test. I want a little bit more meat. I have thrown it on 12. I've thrown it on 10 in clear water situations, but here where I'm skipping under docks and around these pads and in the grass, and getting some abrasions. I want some power. I want to hit them pretty hard. I'm using, you know, pretty fast reel here from Bass Pro Shops, one of the Platinum Series reels, the carbon light rod that is actually designed for jerkbaits. You can actually see it. I left that on. It's a 7-footer, basically designed for jerkbait fishing, and it works perfect in this type of situation that I'm fishing in. It's got a good enough backbone to drive that hook home, but a great tip to impart that darting action that I'm looking for on these fish. And you know, when you're fishing, when you're out on the water, people are like, well, what are you looking for? I get that question quite often. It's like, some days I'm looking for the drop off where the water changes colors. Other days it's the grass. I mean, you just got to read the situation, and you got to go fishing. Go fishing a lot, get used to it, and let your mind, and there's this subconscious or something that says I need to do this, or I need to pause or twitch, because every day is just a little different. That fish came way out off. A lot of our others have came up close to the bank, so you got to keep them honest everywhere. Got him that time. Come up here. Woo. That's cool. We are gonna power pole down real quick. That wind is, we're just letting that wind push us through this pad field, and you can see sand spots all through here. And that's the second bite that we've had. And I mean, when they bite it, both of them come all the way out of the water and just annihilated it. And we're just, you know, we're twitching this soft plastic jerkbait through as fast as we can, trying to get a bite. And I mean, and then you got to horse them out after that. It's hand-to-hand combat, but it's cool. You know, when I look inside my traveling soft plastic jerkbait, and I got a lot more of them at home, and I open that up, there's a lot of different colors here. And they're kind of based on sizes and places that I like to go and where I've been fishing. And I'll pick different colors and different styles based on, you know, my successes in certain areas. And, you know, and that matters when you go fishing. Like this color right here has been pretty successful for me today so far. It's just kind of a little albino looking on the bottom and some greenish on top of it. I actually don't even know what color it is. Don't even know where I bought it at. It's been in there so long. It's kind of bred probably with some of those other ones. And it just looks like to me to match a lot of the colors in here. And it's hard to argue with success. I tied a different color on real quick, threw it about 20 times, didn't get a bite. And confidence is a weird deal in fishing. I wanted to go back to this other one. We're gonna raise some power poles and keep drifting and see if we can catch some more. The wind is howling today. Let's cheat a little bit and go inside here. Instead of getting a little deeper, let's go a little shallower. Ah, right at the boat. Look at that fish. I mean, if you don't like this, up in the pads, jumping out, just attacking it with fury, something's wrong. That's so cool. You know, there's times I've been out here and I've thrown flukes in other lakes, and I mean, you'll go 0 for 10. And you'll wonder why, and it can be the rod, it could be the line, you could be twitching, we should be pausing. They just might not be in the mood that they're eating it, but right now, as you can see, these fish are eating it. You're getting aggressive strikes, they're coming up, they're blowing up on it, and it makes it so much easier in the hook set situation. You see them, you feel them, they swim off with it, they're crunching it, they're moving it around their mouth and chewing on it. Where other days, it's like they're grabbing this part of it, and they may swim all the way to the boat, and then they're just gone. You know, when it comes time to pick a soft plastic jerkbait, I actually don't even know what all brands I've got in my box right now. Just, you know, when I go in, I like the color, I buy them. I know there's some Zoom flukes in there. There's some big bite baits in there. There's just a variety of different brands in there because there's a lot of different colors that I like and sizes. And, you know, so when you go into Bass Pro Shops or you're online and you start looking at that aisle that's got a lot of these, you know, my advice, keep it simple with some basic colors that you like for the bait fish in your area. I like a lot of shad colors, silver blacks and whites and fire and ices. I throw some, you know, bluegill colors, darker colors for when the conditions warrant it. And there's just a huge selection. amazing way to catch them. And it can humble you throwing the soft plastic jerkbait, but it can sure be fun and easy.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Bass Pro Shops Fisherman's Handbook. This has been a Carico TV production.